From the Western Mass News studios in Springfield, this is Western Mass News Getting Answers with Dave Mattson.
Thanks for joining me for this week's edition of Western Mass News Getting Answers. Every week I'm joined by political and business leaders and other newsmakers to talk about the issues that impact you. This week, as we mark the first anniversary of this program, I'm joined by the man who was my first guest, Springfield Mayor Dominic Sarno. Time permitting, the mayor and I are going to focus on economic development of the city's new police commission, city schools, and lots more. Good to see you.
Great to see you.
Always
Dave.
good.
And thanks for having me again. And happy first year anniversary. And my best to your son, Chris, too.
We were talking about that the summer school just started this week in Springfield, and he's running the program. So.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, the numbers are down in summer school, but that's good because we're getting many, many more kids through the regular session of school, and that's proven in our graduation rates and a tremendous drop in our dropout rates and our test scores, so that's good. But tell my best to Chris.
I will. Let's talk about development. A lot of positive things, a lot of good things going on. Last week, Peter Picknelly, you folks had a press conference. Chairman of the bus lines put forth a proposal to build a new courthouse for Springfield along the Connecticut River. Picknelly would build it, then lease it to the state. I just want to get your thoughts on the plans, maybe more on it and exactly where it might be. And
it would be. There's about 14.5 acres behind the Avocado Street, behind the Republican newspaper also that Peter has there. And the proposal is absolutely fantastic because not only would it cure getting a new state-of-the-art courthouse, which the employees and the patrons and the residents of the area sorely deserve, but the spin-off effects of residential housing and a marina. It's nearly a $500 million project, and that would spur a lot of other activity in the North Block, North Riverfront area. And again, it's right by a transportation hub, Union Station. So to me, following all proper bidding and procurement procedures, why wouldn't I want to have a local developer with a proven track record and the Fontaine brothers to do this? So, with DCAM, they said, where would we put it? Where would we put it? We have a spot for them to put it. I understand they have to do what they have to do now temporarily with the old courthouse, but the Roderick Island Courthouse is a building that has numerous problems. It's a so-called sick building. A lot of preventative maintenance, if any, has not been done in decades there. So you just can't keep doing, if you don't do the preventative maintenance, you're going to have the same problem again. The other thing, too, another spinoff, and I'm hopeful that we can build a new courthouse there on the north end of the riverfront. The property where the current courthouse becomes very attractive economic development project areas, whether, maybe I go to MGM, expand your footprint, tower, or other economic development project, and that gets it on the tax rolls. But we deserve a new courthouse, and I'm hopeful, and we could do it in probably under 4 years. They'd put a lease out to upwards of 7 years. When you look at it with the cleaning cost, the rehab cost they're looking to do, and the leasing, the approximate estimation is about $170 million. You could probably build a new courthouse for $200 million. Well,
then the court, the trial court coming out, I think it was on Wednesday, saying, well, listen, let's find a temporary place for 5 to 7 years while we redo this building over. And like you were saying, that's just an old building that its usefulness is done.
Plus, they're looking for 172,000 square feet, which would be, I want to keep the courthouse in Springfield proper and preferably in the downtown area. But this would be a great spin-off effect, and we'll be ready to go. Again, we'd follow all the proper bidding and procurement procedures, but I just think you'd have a great positive domino effect. So I'm going to continue to push it.
Governor Baker was in the city this week, but he was also here in June to talk about his economic development bill, future opportunities for resiliency, workforce, and revitalized downtowns. What exactly is that? What's that going to mean for the city?
Well, first of all, I was with the governor at my beloved South End, the new South End Community Center. I'm going to miss the guy and Lieutenant Governor Polito. They've been a great friend, not only to me, but City of Springfield and Western Massachusetts Commonwealth. He had me testify twice on this bill. I went down to Boston the first time to testify before the Joint Committee of the Senate and the House, and then submitted written testimony a couple Fridays ago. Tim Sheehan, my Chief Development Officer, did the Zoom testimony. the state or legislature is sitting on billions of dollars of ARPA money, $5.8 billion. I have millions of dollars, which I've doled out well over 50 million already. People are hurting and businesses are hurting. This is to get this out, gives the tools, a toolkit for downtown development, infrastructure development improvements, whether it's mass development. I was on the phone with Danny Rivera yesterday, mass housing, mass works. But this gives the building blocks, and the governor is looking to get this money out, about 2-point-something billion plus bonding, and we need it yesterday. So my testimony to the legislative leadership was, the worst thing you want to say to your constituents is that the federal government clawed back that money. 2024 is right around the corner.
Right.
That money must be earmarked at that point in time. So I'm hoping that they're going to loosen up the purse strings here and get this money out. So that's what it is there. And it would benefit many, if not all, cities and towns in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and it benefits me specifically here for the residents, business community, city of Springfield.
There have been some new developments and plans to turn the property at 31 Elm Street and Court Square into 74 mixed-income retail homes. What's the latest on that?
It's wonderful what's going on there. And again, the high majority of them are all market rate housing. And in the first floor area, I think you're going to see a great tribute to our dear friend, the late Andy Yu, with the restaurant component that's going to go in there. It's moving very well. We're hopeful for something to break as in 2023. And the COVID has been a challenge on supply chains, material chains on it. But we've kept those projects going. That's another project that they thought would never get done in the city of Springfield. But my administration's had a stick-to-itiveness attitude to make sure that we can get it done. And I'm very thankful to my city team. I'm very thankful to Peter Picknelly, the Wind Company, Governor Baker, to MassMutual, who stepped forward big time, Roger Crandall, MGM, they stepped forward big time. This was a very unique public-private partnership, and this gets this building to its historic grandeur and back on the tax roll and downtown living, coupled with bringing another great corporate citizen family, Damore family, Big Y, and bringing them downtown. So you can live downtown, you can work downtown, you can shop downtown. Connecting the dots, pieces of the puzzle.
That's just a beautiful piece of property. I mean, it always has.
You've been in there in the old days. We all have. It's beautiful. It's
going to be good to see. The other thing going on right now, site preparation underway to tear down the MassMutual Center parking garage.
Yeah.
That's talking about long overdue.
Yeah,
right?
Dave, you and I will start with some of the sledgehammers on that. I just had David Gibbons, who's the executive director of the Mass Convention Centers in the Commonwealth. Great guy. We've had a great working relationship. He was just in the office the other day with Tim Shee and I and others. Exciting plans. This is not only a state-of-the-art parking garage with first floor area. We'll have amenities and retail. We're going to close off our friend Bruce Landon's way and activate that area, much like Fenway does. So that's not going to be open too much. Your entrance and exit areas, egress areas, are going to really be on Harrison and Dwight Street for that garage. Now, we always wanted to, with the $1 billion MGM project across the street from MassMutual Center, we're going to have an entrance on the State Street side. And it's going to be like a Broadway entrance. You know, when you're going for the shows there, the marquee and the lights and everything. So that's going to happen there. But I think the reactivation of closing down Bruce Landon Way and having an event like Fenway, having events going on there. If you have conventions going on, having the spin-off effects there. This is much more than a garage, and I'm very, very appreciative, again, of Governor Baker and his administration for helping us put this deal together. So this is going to be north of $50 million, this project.
Boy, talk about opening up that whole area down there, too. It's
I mean,
fabulous.
the T-Birds, look at the T-Birds are down there, fantastic.
We're going to talk more about that later. As far as continued development in and around MGM, where do things stand?
We took, again, I don't want to be a landlord of buildings. The buildings across the street from MGM, the past ownership of that really didn't do anything, lost the buildings on it.
Yeah.
So we were able to cut a deal to get the buildings. I think in the very near future we'll be putting out RFPs to Tim Sheen and I, my Chief Development Officer, for what is conducive and best for that downtown area, the South End corridor, and MGM, and we're looking to bring an eclectic mix down there. So stay tuned for that. Tim Sheen and I will be doing a dog and pony show in the fall of all the projects we've completed, but more importantly, the vision that we have on more projects going on in the city of Springfield, not only downtown and major projects, but in our neighborhoods. And I'm going to continue to build new schools and rehab schools. You know, we've done nearly $750 million of new schools being built in rehab, the most in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
That's pretty too. And it's hard to believe too that MGM now celebrating its 4th anniversary this summer in about a month.
Yes.
Crazy.
You know, and you guys have a studio down there too.
Yep. Time flies.
4 years.
4 years. All right.
And 1 year for you.
And 1 year for me, right here. But as well, we got to pay the bills.
That's right.
Time for a break. When we come back, why Mayor Sarno has called for another investigation into a troubled Springfield nightclub. Welcome back to Western Mass News Getting Answers. My guest this week, Springfield Mayor Dominic Sarno. You've called for another investigation into the Saga Nightclub. It brought to your attention that Saga is being used to party in through an attached nightclub called The Zone.
Yeah, you know, what happened there was a tragedy with David Carrasquillo, God rest his soul. And I just spoke to his mom the other day. We spoke again, and distraught and a difficult time for her, and it should never happen. That the person who Springfield Police worked with the Warrant Apprehension and our state and federal partners picked up that Brandon Murray very, very quickly. 53 arrests or arraignments prior. He was out on open gun charges. Again, my clarion call to the courts and some of the judges: what the hell was the guy even doing out? Maybe Mr. Carrasquillo would be alive. So. Word had gotten back to me that there might some activities could be going on there. I did have I just got updated yesterday that an investigation was done and was brought back to me that that is not occurring on it, which is good. I wanted to make sure to follow through, but it also sends a message that I don't want to see anything occurring, and also to the adjacent nightclub, The Zone, that they better make sure they're following the proper procedures. Period.
That's it.
But it was brought to my attention. Proper investigation was done, and at the current time when they went to view it, it didn't seem like anything was going on. And I'm hopeful that's the case, and that ends it. But it's just tragic what happened when you senseless, and when you look at all the good things that we have going on downtown with the new businesses opening and Restaurant Row on Worthington Street. But I'm glad they were making a quick arrest, but that person should not even have been on the streets, period.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that too. I mean, right now, the police commission, it's been, what, a little over three months since you appointed 5 people to that commission. As you look at it, what's your early assessment of the commission? Or is it too early to
No,
make
they've done a tremendous job. Again, you have veterans on there with Al Tranghese with labor background, C. Jackson, who has a community background, Madeline Fernandez, a public safety and the Sheriff's Department background, Gary Birdie, who's a chair, criminal justice, public safety, Springfield College, and Norm Roland, another community leader. It's a very diverse board. It's a board of integrity and professionalism. They take their job very seriously. Their marching orders from me is, again, discipline. They have the final call on discipline on it. And the subpoena power, something I went after for years. I tried to codify it with the city council, with the other board that we had, but the council did not want to do it. But they're working very hard. A lot of stuff that they're reviewing behind the scenes. There's public meetings. Some things have to go in executive sessions, and then they can come out on decisions being rendered. But I'm very proud of that board and the diversity of that board and the professionalism, the integrity of that board. And it reflects our community, as I mentioned, all the members on there, too. I have as mayor, I have a balancing act to do. Everybody, no matter what creed, color, and background, wants public safety. And I have to balance public safety with cop accountability. And, I'm proud of the leadership of Police Superintendent Cheryl Clapper, and I'm proud of my police department. If something has gone astray, we will deal with that situation. But the multitude, a huge multitude of our brave and dedicated police officers go out there each and every day keeping us safe and sound. Something should arise, this board will take care of that situation.
And the commissioners have been very clear, too, that we're not involved with the day-to-day operation of the Springfield Police Department.
No,
Yeah.
you want a professional, he or she, running the department. That's the modern policy, modern philosophy now in doing that. But I'm very proud of the board. It's a difficult board to serve on. And they spend a lot of time on there, and they have to make some difficult decisions of, again, what did occur, what did not occur. The best thing we ever did, and I pushed it with retired Commissioner Bill Fitchett some years ago. I wanted those body-worn cameras, so did he, for many years. Now, finally, we were able to get it about 3 years ago, and we implemented it on our own. I believe, my understanding for a couple of Marches ago, I don't think we've had one complaint of excessive force since a body-worn camera. So it puts our officers on notice, but also puts the community on notice, too, when somebody says, oh, this happened, and you covered some stories.
We've seen it. Yeah.
You've seen it. Where false narratives came out.
Yeah.
And then the old TV line, film at 11, and we'd show and say, this is exactly what we told you would happen.
And the officers are buying into it now, too.
They will not go out without the body-worn cameras. And I told many, if not all of them, years ago, this is going to be a benefit to everybody across the board. Police Superintendent Clapprood, again, ordered even the gun unit that we have. Everybody wears those body-worn cameras. Everybody.
You talked about this as far as sentencing and letting these criminals out. A call for legislative action on ghost guns.
Yes.
They continue to impact the streets of Springfield. A young man arrested a few weeks ago in the city, but again released on very low bail.
And I think he was on a bracelet or a monitor too, aren't you?
Yeah.
It's just, what does it take to hold these repeat violent criminal offenders? We have very, very strong gun laws in Massachusetts here. And they need to be to hear of the Bartley-Fox law. I don't know whatever happened to that, Dave. You remember in the old days, if you got caught with a gun on you, it was mandatory 1 year. My understanding, that is still on the books. But it's never...
Just not enforced.
It's not enforced.
Yeah.
It's not enforced.
Well, I remember that you driving into Massachusetts from Connecticut, there was that sign.
That's right.
It was automatic.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, and again, I'm all for second chances and empowerment and rehabilitation where warranted. This 1 or 2%, these are hideous crimes and repeat violent offenders. I don't care what creed, color, or background. When I'm out there in the neighborhoods, people saying, what the hell is this person doing out on the street? And that hurts credibility when you're working with the community, or police departments work with the community and say, we helped, we worked with this, and this person's back on the street.
Yeah.
So I just, again, and I put the legislation, as you know, the bail reform legislation. I've testified for Governor Baker's dangerous legislation, but the legislature just doesn't move on it.
It's growing frustration because, this isn't just something you started yesterday. You've been talking about this for
7 years. Yeah, 6, 7 years with the legislature. State Representative Angelo Pupolo, Angie's been my lead on it. Again, you talk about the Saga Nightclub incident.
Right.
That person, 53 arrests, 53 arraignments, and was out on open gun charge. These are serious. He had serious gun charges, drug charges, and he was out.
What's it going to take?
I had a retired probation official supervisor that retired a number of years ago. And you don't want any, God forbid anything, but it has to affect some of the court system or judges that if it affected one of their loved ones, realize, a bad person is a bad person. I don't wish any ill will on it. My point is this. They can't get the judges. I'm the mayor, they can get to me, and that's fine. That's my business. I was on the phone with David Carrasquillo's mother last week.
Right.
No matter how much power a mayor, he or she might have, I can't bring her son back to life. And the question always comes about, Mayor, Sarno, Dominic, what are you going to do about it? We're doing the job. My police department's doing the job. As Coach Bill Belichick of the New England Patriots says, I need the courts. And I'm not saying all judges, but I need the judges to do their job. To me, this is cut and dry. And they'll say to me, or defense, change the laws. We've tried to change the laws. The legislature won't move on it.
Yeah. All right, we're taking on the break. Sure. And when we come back, the mayor and I talk about getting things back to normal in city schools and getting students to pay better attention in the classroom. Welcome back. My guest this week is Springfield Mayor Dominic Sarno. Mayor, it's been about a month since the mass shooting at Uvalde, Texas, at the elementary school there. Those shootings always raise questions about security in local school districts. Are you comfortable with school security here in Springfield?
Yes, I am. We moved on school security many, many years ago, expending millions and millions of dollars in hardening the school buildings and also with the camera system. Plus, we have the Quebec team that's in there with the police department, which really builds relationships with our students on it. So I'm very comfortable. God forbid, we always look to improve. Plus, we have this other activity, and God forbid there's an emergency situation there. But we have all these things in place. I commend Superintendent Dan Warwick and his team. But I am comfortable. You can never be too guarantee anything, but a knock on wood, we have not had any issues whatsoever. What happened in Uvalde, my heart breaks on that, and we have not had any issues. We want to keep it that way, and the systems that we put in, the millions and millions of dollars being expended on hardening the school facilities, on also with the camera system, if in a dire emergency situation, and the great relationship with the school department and the Quebec team, the police Quebec team, and the relationships being built with our students. So, knock on wood, it has been good, and I want to keep it that way, but we always look to constantly improve.
Things are getting back to normal, too, after COVID, finally,
they
for
are.
these kids.
They are getting back to normal, and we're going to continue to push the vaccinations and the booster shots with education and persuasion on it, and with parental involvement.
Now, starting this fall, Central High School will be the first in the city to test the Yonder pouches to try and control cell phone use. Your thoughts on that?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And don't be surprised if with the school committee and Superintendent Warwick and myself that we're going to expand that to all the high schools and all the middle schools. You're supposed to be in school to learn. If there's some type of an emergency, that can be handled. But you're in there to learn. These phones have become a distraction for students, and it's become a distraction for the teachers and staff there. This is for the good, overall good of the students to continue to move them forward. I'm very proud of all the accomplishments under Superintendent Warwick that we've been able to put forth. Graduation rate now, when I took over, was hovering around 50%. Now we're hovering around 86% graduation rate. When I took over, I think the dropout rate was 14%. It's 1.9%. Test scores are up. We talked about summer school, and the attendance is down there. Why? Because we have more and more kids getting through the regular session of school on it. But as far as these cell phone yonders, whatever they're called, I love it, and I think we're going to continue to pursue it.
Focus.
Yeah, Central, and Tad Tokar's principal does a great job. He is Mr. Central, and Central is, again, the home of scholars and champions.
All right, we are out of time. We could use an hour.
Well, I got to say the T-Birds, though.
T-Birds,
How
yes.
about them T-Birds? Woo! And I got to give Janet Brown a shout-out. She wears the bling chain like I do, too.
She does.
It's my pleasure.
Your partners in crime. Good to see you, as always.
Good to see you.
Stay well. My thanks to Springfield Mayor Dominic Sarno for joining me this week on the first anniversary of our Sunday morning program. And my thanks to all of you for watching this morning and every week. I'm Dave Batson. Stay safe and stay well if you can. Join us next week for Western Mass News Getting Answers.